All right, let's jump right in. We're not just talking about any old comic book today. Nope, we're going to deconstruct a true cultural landmark. Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. It's so much more than just a story. It's a modern myth that completely redefined a hero for an entire generation. And today, we're going to break down exactly how it pulled that off.
You know, it all really boils down to this one question. A question that cuts right to the heart of the story. And let's be honest, it kind of gets at our own anxieties about time, right? What happens when our symbols of strength, our heroes, get old? What happens when they have to face their own irrelevance? So here's our game plan. We're going to explore the world this story was born into, the absolute visionary who shaped it, and then the most crucial part, the role of the reader. Yeah, that means you, in bringing it to life. Because that collaboration, that's what turns a really great story into a legend.
Okay, first things first, let's set the stage. Because to really get the impact of The Dark Knight Returns, you have to understand the world it landed in. This wasn't just any old moment in time. It was a moment that was practically screaming for a new kind of hero. So picture it. The year is 1986. The comic book industry is in the middle of this massive seismic shift. And the story itself, it's set in this near-future Gotham, a city just teetering on the edge of total collapse. It reflected a world that was dealing with Cold War paranoia and all sorts of economic anxiety. And this stuff isn't just background noise, you know? It's the very engine of the whole narrative. And this really captures that transformation perfectly. Comics were growing up. The old myth of the perfect, always does the right thing hero was fading away. In its place, a new reality. Gritty, morally complex stories packed with adult themes. The Dark Knight Returns didn't just follow this trend. It grabbed it by the collar and shoved it into the spotlight.
And here you can see the raw nerves the story was touching. This wasn't just some made-up fantasy. It was holding up a mirror to what people were actually feeling. The decay of cities, a deep, deep distrust in our institutions to solve anything, and that really personal, quiet fear of just getting older, of becoming irrelevant. This wasn't escapism. It was a direct reflection of the times.
So you've got this perfect storm of context, right? Now, let's turn to the visionary who actually harnessed it, the writer and artist, Frank Miller. This quote from Miller is, well, it's incredibly revealing, isn't it? His motivation was personal. He was literally pouring his own feelings about getting older right into the character. So this wasn't just some clever, creative choice, it was an emotional one, and that's what gave this story its authentic, grizzled soul.
And what a reimagining it was. Just think about it. A 55-year-old Bruce Wayne retired for a decade. He wasn't just fighting supervillains anymore, he was fighting time itself. This just completely shattered everyone's idea of who or what Batman could be.
And Miller's artistic fingerprint is just all over this book. You can see it in the cinematic panel layouts, the heavy, moody use of shadow and ink, and that constant biting commentary on the media and authority figures. But you know what's most important? He put the focus squarely on the human stakes, the messy, real consequences of trying to be a hero in a world that's fundamentally broken. Okay, so we've got the context, and we've got the creator. But a story like this, it's just not complete without its final collaborator. So let's talk about the third piece of this puzzle, the reader. The actual lifeblood of the myth.
See, this is where the book starts asking you some questions. And they're not meant to be answered on the page, but right inside your own head. First, it makes you think about what it means when the hero you grew up with has to change, because the world itself has changed right under his feet. And then, the questions, they get a lot tougher. They push you right up against the story's moral ambiguity. If the systems of justice are broken, if they're failing, what does justice even look like anymore?
And finally, the question turns directly to you. This isn't about Batman anymore, not really. It forces you to ask yourself, in the face of total systemic failure, what is my responsibility? It's a question that echoes way, way beyond the pages of a comic book.
And this right here, this is the key. The story isn't really finished until you, the reader, internalize it, until you start mirroring its themes onto your own life and the society around you. That act, that's what transforms it from just ink on paper into a living, breathing experience.
So now, let's put it all together. The context, the writer, and the reader. This is the alchemy. This is how a modern myth is actually forged.
Think of it like this triangle of meaning. The context of the 1980s provides that dark, urgent setting. Miller provides the bold, new vision. And you, the reader, You provide the emotional connection that breathes life into the whole thing. Take one piece away, and it all falls apart. Each one is absolutely essential.
And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. Without an active audience, an audience that's willing to grapple with these tough themes, The Dark Knight Returns would just be a very important piece of comic book history. It's the continuous engagement from readers, year after year, that elevates it to the status of a living myth, one that's still influencing stories to this very day.
So we end right where Bruce Wayne begins his final chapter, with a question directed not at a city, but at ourselves. In a world that can often feel pretty gray and hopeless, this story asks us to look inward and ask, what is the purpose I will return to? What is the cause I will fight for?